Imagine you're standing inside a villa just outside Rome. The year is 73 after Christ. You're 15 years old. Yesterday you met a man for the first time. Today you married him. He's a centurion. Your father arranged the match. You were never asked if you agreed. The ceremony followed every rule: the sacrifice, the vows, the procession through the streets. Everyone congratulated your father on a successful alliance. Men clapped your new husband on the back and joked about his luck. No one asked how you felt. Now the feast is over. The wine has flowed freely. The guests are loud and unsteady on their feet. Your husband takes your hand. His grip is firm, possessive. He leads you away from the crowd. You walk toward his quarters. Your heart is racing. Your stomach feels hollow. You're terrified. But you tell yourself the same thing every girl is taught to believe: it will be over quickly. You reach the door. He opens it. You step inside, and you see them. 5 men sitting on benches drinking wine, smiling. They aren't leaving. This is the part most people don't understand about Roman marriage. The wedding night wasn't private, it wasn't gentle, and it wasn't really about the couple at all. It was a public demonstration, a political act, a ritual designed to establish dominance and control. This wasn't deviance. It wasn't cruelty for cruelty's sake. This was standard practice. It was written into marriage customs, defended in legal text, recorded by Roman historians and poets without hesitation or shame. Let me show you exactly what happened in that room. If you believe that the darkest systems of power in history must be remembered, consider liking this video and subscribing. Your support helps uncover more accounts buried in the shadows of ancient empires. The ritual had a name. Romans called it dedutio in domu mariti, the leading of the bride into the husband's house. It sounds simple. It wasn't. After the ceremony, the bride was escorted through the streets in a procession. Family members, friends, witnesses. If the groom was a soldier, the procession was deliberately loud. Crude songs were sung. Sexual jokes were shouted. Encouragement was hurled toward the groom. The bride's fear wasn't ignored. It was mocked. You were expected to cry. If you didn't, people noticed. A dry-eyed bride raised questions. Questions about virginity, questions about shame. If you didn't cry, it suggested you'd done this before, that your body wasn't untouched, that your family had failed. So you cry, not only because you're afraid, but because fear is part of the performance. Your tears are required. The procession reaches the house. You're led inside. You assume the witnesses will leave. They don't. In military marriages, especially among centurions and lower ranking officers, the custom was explicit. The groom's comrades entered the bedchamber. They sat down, they drank, they stayed, not outside the door, not listening from the hallway, inside the room. Roman writers describe this plainly. Catullus, writing in the 1st century before Christ, refers to wedding night witnesses in his poems. He presents it as normal, expected, traditional. Martial, writing in the 1st century after Christ, makes jokes about it in his epics. He assumes his audience already knows. He assumes they'll laugh. Plutarch, in his writings on Roman customs, notes that military marriages often included fraternal witnesses to ensure the union was properly consummated. Properly consummated? Think about what that means. These men had a role, a purpose. They weren't just present. They were verifying, judging, ensuring that the bride performed correctly. Now, imagine it from her perspective. You're 15. You've never experienced anything like this. You don't understand what's about to happen. And there are 5 grown men watching you. Men who serve beside your husband. Men bound to him by loyalty and hierarchy. Men who see you as property transferred from one household to another. You can't refuse. You can't ask them to leave. Your husband invited them. Tradition demands it. To object would insult his honor. And his honor matters more than your body. So it happens in front. 20 of them. They watch, they comment, they laugh. Roman wedding poetry includes lines where witnesses joke during consummation. They critique the bride's reaction. They encourage the groom. Your trauma becomes their entertainment, their bonding ritual. Why would a society normalize this? Here's the part that should truly unsettle you about Roman culture. Everything served the state. Every ritual, every custom, every law. Marriage wasn't about love. It was about producing legitimate children. Children who would become citizens, citizens who would serve the empire. The wedding night ritual served multiple purposes. First, it verified virginity. If the bride cried, struggled, bled, it was taken as proof. If she didn't, suspicion followed. Second, it established dominance. The husband's first act as a married man was to assert physical control in front of his peers. That moment defined the marriage. Third, it bonded the men. Shared witnessing of violation created complicity. They were now invested. They had seen her submission. They had participated in her breaking. This wasn't intimacy. It was systematic control. And the evidence is clear. The Digest of Justinian, a compilation of Roman legal texts, includes sections referencing consummation verification. The law allowed witnesses to testify in annulment cases about whether consummation occurred. How would they know? Because we read there. Marriage contracts from the 1st and 2nd centuries preserved in papyri from Roman Egypt sometimes include clauses specifying who would verify consummation. Names were listed, roles were defined, and if verification failed, consequences followed. A contract dated to 142 after Christ, found in Oxyches, required 2 witnesses to confirm consummation on the wedding night. They had to sign a statement. That statement became part of the legal marriage record. Your most intimate moment, your most terrifying night, reduced to ink on papyrus, signed by the men who watched. And this system destroyed lives. In the next part, I'll show you exactly how. There's a case that shows exactly what this system did to real people. Her name was Cornelia of Ostia. The year was 86 after Christ. We know about her because her husband filed for divorce just 2 months after their marriage. His name was Gas Flavius. He was a junior military officer. His claim was simple. Cornelia, he said, was not a virgin on their wedding night. To prove it, he presented testimony. 3 witnesses, all fellow soldiers. They had been in the room. The legal fragment survives. One witness stated that Cornelia showed no pain and did not bleed. Another claimed she moved with familiarity rather than modesty. Based on that testimony, the marriage was annulled. Cornelia's dowry was seized. Her reputation was destroyed. Her family was publicly shamed. She was 16 years old. No one questioned why 3 grown men were present in the chamber. No one asked whether their testimony might be biased. No one considered that Cornelia might have been too terrified to react normally, too shocked to cry, too tense to bleed. The men's word was absolute. Cornelia's experience didn't matter. The fragment is housed today in the Bodleian Library at Oxford. The handwriting is neat. The judgment is final. After the annulment, Cornelia disappears from the historical record. We don't know what happened to her, but we know what happened to Gas Flavius. He remarried within a year. His second wife was 14. Rome conducted hundreds of thousands of marriages over the Republican Empire. Not all followed identical rituals. There were regional variations. Class differences mattered, but the core structure appears again and again. Consummation witnessed, verified, recorded. Military marriages were the most extreme. Soldiers lived communally. Privacy barely existed. Barracks were shared spaces. A centurion's quarters might offer slightly more room, but not true isolation. The expectation of shared experience followed the soldier home. When a man married, his unit attended. They escorted the bride. They entered the quarters. They stayed. Military records don't describe this in detail, but personal letters do. We have correspondence, NCE from soldiers stationed in Britain, Germany, and Syria. Men writing casually to brothers and friends. One letter dated around 110 after Christ was written by a soldier named Marcus. He describes attending a comrade's wedding. He jokes about staying in the room because tradition demands it. He jokes about the bride's tears. He thinks he's being humorous, friendly. He doesn't realize he's describing trauma. That's how normalized it was. Men participated in violating women and believed they were honoring tradition. Eventually, the witnesses left. The room fell quiet. For the first time, you were alone with your husband. You were bleeding. You were in pain. You were traumatized. There was no pause, no space to recover because the ritual wasn't over. The next morning, it continued. In many Roman marriages, the day after the wedding night included a ceremony known as the pronuba sacrifice. The couple made an offering at the household shrine. Family members were present. Questions were asked. The purpose was simple: to confirm the marriage had been successfully consummated. Your demeanor was watched closely. Too calm was suspicious. Too distressed was also suspicious. You were expected to display the correct amount of suffering. Older